Let's demystify gluten-free bread. If you've ever wondered what makes gluten-free bread different from the classic loaves you see at the bakery, you're not alone. Gluten-free bread has become a staple for many people, but there's still a lot of confusion about what it actually is, how it's made, and why it's so important for some diets. Today, we're going to break it all down, step by step, so you can understand exactly what goes into every slice. First, let's talk about gluten itself. Gluten is a protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. It's what gives traditional bread its signature stretch, chewiness, and that satisfying, airy structure. When you knead wheat dough, gluten forms a network that traps air bubbles, helping the bread rise and giving it that familiar texture we all know and love. But for people with celiac disease, gluten intolerance, or those who simply want to avoid gluten, eating regular bread isn't an option. That's where gluten-free bread comes in. Instead of wheat flour, we use a blend of alternative flours, like rice, tapioca, buckwheat, sorghum, or even almond and coconut flour. Each of these flours brings its own unique flavor and nutritional profile to the mix. To help mimic the structure that gluten provides, we add binders like xanthan gum, psyllium husk, or chia seeds. These ingredients help hold the bread together and give it a satisfying bite. The result? A loaf that's truly one of a kind. Gluten-free bread often has a denser, moister crumb and a flavor profile that can range from nutty to earthy, depending on the flour blend you choose. It's perfect for those who need to avoid gluten for health reasons, but it's also a fantastic option for anyone who wants to explore new tastes and textures in their baking. It's important to remember that gluten-free bread isn't meant to be an exact replica of wheat bread. Instead, it's a delicious alternative with its own character. Embrace the difference. You'll notice the crumb is often tighter, the crust can be softer, and the flavors are more complex and varied. Depending on your flour blend, your bread might be slightly sweet, a little nutty, or even have a hint of tang. Some gluten-free breads are perfect for sandwiches, while others shine when toasted and topped with your favorite spreads. The possibilities are endless, and experimenting with different recipes can be a lot of fun. With the right recipe, a bit of patience, and a few clever tricks, you can bake a gluten-free loaf that's soft, sliceable, and absolutely delicious. Don't be discouraged if your first attempt isn't perfect. Practice makes progress, and every loaf teaches you something new. So, forget those crumbly, disappointing store-bought versions. Today, we're making a homemade, gluten-free bread that you'll be proud to share and excited to eat. Ready to discover the world of gluten-free baking? Let's get started. Before we dive into mixing, let's take a moment to get all our essentials sorted and ready. Preparation is the key to a smooth and enjoyable baking experience, especially when it comes to gluten-free bread. Having everything measured and within reach will make the process much easier and help ensure your bread turns out perfectly. The foundation of any gluten-free bread is a good flour blend. You can use a high-quality store-bought gluten-free flour mix, or make your own by combining whole-grain flours like brown rice or sorghum with starches such as tapioca or potato, and a protein-rich flour like chickpea or soy. This combination gives your bread the right balance of structure, softness, and nutrition. Next, you'll need a binder to mimic the elasticity that gluten provides. Xanthan gum is the most common choice, and just a small amount goes a long way in holding your loaf together and giving it that classic bread texture. If you prefer, you can also experiment with alternatives like psyllium husk or gar gum, but xanthan gum is a reliable staple for most recipes. For flavor, rise, and moisture, gather instant yeast, a bit of sugar to feed the yeast, salt for taste, and a fat like olive oil or melted butter to enrich the dough. Warm water is essential for activating the yeast. Make sure it's not too hot or too cold, as the right temperature helps your bread rise beautifully. When it comes to equipment, accuracy is everything. A digital kitchen scale ensures you measure your ingredients precisely, which is especially important in gluten-free baking. You'll also need a large mixing bowl for combining your ingredients, a whisk for blending dry components, a sturdy spatula for mixing the dough, and a standard loaf tin to shape your bread. If you have a stand mixer, it can make mixing the sticky gluten-free dough much easier and more efficient. However, don't worry if you don't own one. Mixing by hand with a spatula works just as well. The key is to mix thoroughly so all the ingredients are well incorporated. Before you start, make sure to grease and line your loaf tin with parchment paper. This step is crucial for easy removal of your baked bread and helps prevent sticking, so your loaf comes out looking perfect every time. A kitchen thermometer is a handy tool for checking the temperature of your water and your dough. Using water that's just the right warmth will help your yeast work its magic, leading to a better rise and a lighter crumb. With all your ingredients measured and your equipment ready, you're well on your way to gluten-free baking success. Taking the time to prepare now will make the process smoother and more enjoyable, and set you up for a delicious result. Now that you're organized and ready, let's move on to the first step of making your gluten-free bread. The first step in making a great loaf of bread is to wake up your yeast. Yeast is a living organism, and it needs the right environment to come alive and do its job. If you skip this step or rush it, your bread might not rise properly, so take your time and treat your yeast with care. Start by measuring out warm water, ideally between 38 and 43 degrees Celsius, or 100 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. This temperature is perfect for activating yeast, not too hot to kill it, and not too cold to leave it sluggish. Add a spoonful of sugar to the water. The sugar acts as food for the yeast, helping it to wake up and start bubbling. Sprinkle the yeast over the surface of the water and sugar mixture. Let it sit undisturbed for about 5 to 10 minutes. During this time, you should see bubbles forming and the mixture becoming foamy. This is a sign that your yeast is alive and active. If you don't see any foam, your yeast may be old or the water temperature may have been off. Don't be discouraged, just start over with fresh ingredients. While the yeast is working its magic, turn your attention to the dry ingredients. In a large mixing bowl, combine your flour blend, xanthan gum, and salt. The flour blend is the backbone of your bread, while xanthan gum helps mimic the structure that gluten provides in traditional bread. Salt not only adds flavor, but also helps control the yeast's activity. Use a whisk to thoroughly mix the dry ingredients together. This step is important to ensure that the xanthan gum and salt are evenly distributed throughout the flour. If you notice any clumps, break them up with your fingers or the whisk. A well-mixed, dry base will help your dough come together smoothly later on. Take a moment to check the texture of your flour mixture. It should feel light and uniform, with no pockets of unmixed ingredients. This attention to detail now will pay off later, giving your finished loaf a consistent crumb and structure, and helping it rise evenly in the oven. By now, your yeast mixture should be bubbly and fragrant, and your dry mix should be ready to go. Having both components prepared and waiting side by side on your counter sets you up for a smooth mixing process. This organization is key to successful bread making. When you're ready to combine the wet and dry ingredients, don't rush. Pour the activated yeast mixture into the bowl with your dry mix and begin mixing slowly. Proper mixing at this stage is crucial. It ensures that the yeast is evenly distributed and that the dough develops the right texture. Take your time and enjoy the process. This is where the foundation of your bread is truly laid. With everything prepared and mixed, you're ready to move on to the next step, forming the dough. Let's bring it all together and continue our journey to a perfect homemade loaf. Time to mix. Pour the frothy yeast mixture and oil or butter into your dry ingredients. Mix with a spatula or stand mixer. No kneading, just beat until combined. The dough will be sticky and more like thick cake batter. Don't add extra flour. Beat for 3 to 5 minutes to aerate, and activate the xanthan gum. You want a smooth, glossy, elastic batter. This step traps air, giving your bread lift and softness. If mixing by hand, put in some elbow grease. Once the dough is thick and stretchy, you're ready for the first rise. Let's get it proofing. Now, let the dough rise. Grease and line your loaf tin, then scrape in the sticky dough. Smooth the top with a wet spatula or fingers. Cover loosely with a damp towel or greased cling film. Place in a warm, draft-free spot for 45 to 60 minutes. The dough should rise to the rim of the tin. Don't expect it to double. Avoid overproofing. Too much rise and it may collapse. This quiet time lets the yeast create air pockets for a soft crumb. Keep an eye on it. Timing is key. Ready for the oven? Let's bake. Shaping and rising are done in one step for gluten-free bread, while the dough proofs. Preheat your oven to 200 Daubendegree from 400 Daubendegree. Place a baking tray in the oven to heat up. When the dough is level with the tin, check with a gentle poke. It should spring back slowly. For a soft crust, brush with milk or egg. For a rustic look, dust with flour. Avoid scoring the top. Gluten-free dough is delicate. Your loaf is ready. Your oven is hot. Time for the final transformation. Slide your loaf tin onto the hot tray in the oven. For a crispier crust, add steam by pouring hot water into a tray at the oven's base. Bake for 40-50 minutes. Don't open the door for the first 25 minutes. The loaf should turn golden brown and pull from the tin sides. Test doneness by tapping the bottom. It should sound hollow. If not, bake directly on the rack for 5-10 more minutes. A well-baked loaf feels light for its size. Once done, enjoy the amazing aroma, but don't slice yet. Let's talk cooling. You're almost there. Transfer your loaf to a wire rack immediately. Don't leave it in the tin. Let it cool completely, at least 2 hours, so the crumb sets. Slicing too soon makes it gummy and ruins the texture. Recap. Don't add extra flour. Always test your yeast and check doneness with the hollow sound test. Patience is key. Cooling is as important as baking. Once cooled, slice and enjoy with butter or your favorite spread. Baking gluten-free bread is a skill anyone can master. Share this guide, subscribe for more tips, and keep experimenting. You've earned that perfect slice. Thanks for baking with me. Happy baking!